and broken ankles. We haven't had a video like this for almost 2 years. I think maybe over 2 years. But today, we're going to be talking about the much anticipated March Madness Final Four. The teams in this Final Four are San Diego State University, UConn,
Florida Atlantic,
and Miami. For those who have never watched our videos or haven't watched our videos in a long time, I'm Jaan. This is Raja. So yeah, I think let's
huge
get straight
Aztecs
into
fans.
it.
I
We're
mean,
big Aztecs
we
fans.
were not expecting the Aztecs to make it nearly this far. You know, I was in shock when they beat Alabama, and just it really hit me when they hit the Final Four. They made the Final Four. It's just crazy, once in a lifetime. So yeah, to start things off, this Final Four is unlike
any Final Four.
Yeah,
before.
in the past, like in recent history.
The highest seed is the number 4 seed, I believe.
Yeah.
There's two number 5
So last
seeds.
year was like nothing out of the ordinary. It was all the big teams: Duke, North Carolina, Villanova, and Kansas. So all the big teams, all the blue bloods. And for some reason he's laughing, but this year we got
Duke. To say you're gonna get another video after this one because we actually are going to Houston for the Final Four. Okay, so let's start with San Diego State.
Start with
San Diego.
SDSU.
No. First, San Diego State had to play Charleston. Charleston going into it had a, I think, 31-3 record, which is actually very good.
They're more of like a 3-point shooting team. You know, they can like show up. I knew a lot of people that had Charleston winning first round in their bracket.
The score of that game was 63-57. They won by 6. It wasn't the most comfortable game. They didn't win by that much, but
they were still getting into the groove. So yeah.
All right, and next they played Furman, a pretty unknown team like Charleston.
But Furman pulled up a massive upset against
it wasn't that big of an
Virginia.
upset. It was
Well,
against
it wasn't a
Virginia.
massive upset, but the way they won it.
Yeah, they won it by like a 3.
Threw the ball away, intercepts it.
Oh yeah.
Buttermilk biscuits.
I think I need tissue.
We beat Furman pretty handily. You know, despite Furman upsetting Virginia, San Diego State manhandled them. And then San Diego State had to face their toughest opponent so far, I'd say, Alabama.
This one was close, but the final score doesn't really say it was that close. Or, you know.
It was a close game.
It was very close till the end. It was 71-64. The Aztecs had a 5-point 28-23 lead at the half. But in the second half, Alabama started destroying.
They just came out balling, bro. And then SDSU went on a 12-0 run. Trammell with a couple huge shots. They held Alabama's star player Brandon Miller
5 points or something.
So yeah, only a couple points, despite Matt Bradley not even having a great game. The whole team showed up.
Especially Trammell. Jaron Trammell had a really good
game. They came in clutch towards the end. And yeah, they got us the big win against Alabama, number 1 seed in the South.
Yeah, that I think that was what really made my hope go up.
Creighton versus SDSU came down to that last minute call. Pretty controversial. I personally think it was a foul. You know,
it was a foul. He was on his hip.
Yeah, Tramell's
But
hip.
yeah, the
It
final.
was a physical game though.
It was pretty physical, especially near the end. And it was low scoring. The final score was 57-56. Aztecs pulled it out.
I've had higher scoring games than that.
Yeah, they ended up beating them 57-56. Creighton had a really good pick and roll going in the first half. After the first half, I think even I thought that, I thought the Aztecs were going to win still, but I knew that they were in trouble. Second half, they showed up and they played a lot better. They didn't play amazing. They played a lot better. They were just missing too many shots, but
it got them the win. It got them the win. That's all that matters.
And then now they're going to play FAU. We'll see how that goes. And it'll be a tough one. FAU has the best record.
They're underseeded. They're way better than a 9.
They just don't have a really good conference. Like if the Aztecs played in that conference, they wouldn't even lose.
FAU. Some interesting facts about them is that their first Final Four, and no one at FAU has ever made the NBA. So no NBA players have came out of FAU. So they're not really a big basketball team. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. Very interesting. So you want to go over FAU's path to the Final Four?
Yeah. So their first matchup was against Memphis. Memphis, I guess good team, but
you know they're always decent.
Everyone. How do you know? You don't even know one player on the team.
Because Mikey Williams goes there, so they have to be good.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Why would he pick that team?
No, I swear to God.
Ridiculous.
Look it up.
so dumb. Why would he pick that school? Anyways. So they beat Memphis by 1. Final score was 66-65. Super close. You know, there's not really much to say about the game, but well.
Yeah, well, you didn't watch it. So
I didn't watch it.
anything.
Neither did you.
Okay.
God. All right.
But their next game.
Oh my God. I'm about to bring it up.
Okay.
Their next game was, I wouldn't say easy because FDU, the team they played, beat Purdue in the first round.
You know, great coach Tobin Anderson.
Moving on from that, this game was against Tennessee, which I thought would be a harder matchup for them.
Tennessee
They ended
beat
up
Duke.
beating them by 7. Yeah, Tennessee beat Duke in Louisiana. Louisiana sucks.
So this is where you see like all the top teams are starting to get knocked out. Like
Yeah.
I think Duke was still favored to win that game against Tennessee, although they were seated a little bit lower. But Duke is Duke.
They beat Tennessee by 7, 62-55. I also didn't watch any of the Florida Atlantic games, so I can't say much. I watched all the SDSU ones, so I can't really say
Then
anything.
FAU took on Kansas State.
FAU ended up beating that Kansas State team, a very stacked team.
That's why everyone calls them the villains, because I think Kansas State after that,
Probably the favorites.
they were probably like the fan favorites pretty much. I think.
And kind of the favorites to win out of
Yeah,
all.
honestly.
Out of
they
all
were
the teams
number 3
left.
seed. I think if they made the Final Four, they would have a great chance.
They're a talented team. But
But
they didn't do it.
now let's go on to the other side of the bracket, onto the Midwest, where Miami
We're gonna be talking
won
about Miami.
that region.
So first, Miami had to play Drake. He's not very good at basketball, and he's Canadian.
He's good at rapping, bro.
He's good at rapping. So I mean, yeah, but you know, honestly, a terrible team. They beat them 63-56. They beat Indiana 85-69. Had a really good game. They blew them out of the water. They won by 16 points, 85-69.
Pretty decisive.
Mm-hmm. Miami, who's that one good player on Miami?
Isaiah Wong. So let me tell you a little bit about Isaiah Wong. Isaiah Wong leads the team in points, assists, and steals, and is one of the reasons why this team is all the way to the Final Four. You know, beating big teams such as Texas, who else was it? Houston. They're a really good team. You cannot count them out. I mean, UConn is a very talented team, very good team. I mean, just to make it this far, they blew out Gonzaga. They haven't even had a close game. But you can't count Miami out because they can, on any given night, they can just surprise you with Isaiah Wong and the rest of the team. You know, everyone's really solid on their team.
And the next team that Miami played was Houston. Houston was a number 1 seeded team, and they actually ended up beating Houston pretty badly by 14. The final score was 89-75. It was a pretty high-scoring game. I was surprised. I think Raja had Houston winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I did.
Or at least in one of his brackets. I didn't, but I thought they were at least going to make like the Elite 8. But they ended up getting knocked out in the Sweet 16 to Miami. I mean, Miami is a very good team. They were seeded 5th, but just like the Aztecs.
I think every team in this Final Four is underseeded.
Anyways, they ended up blowing Houston out of the water, and they won by a lot. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about the Miami versus Texas game. Miami ended up beating Texas.
Well, it was a big win for Miami. I mean, Texas was pretty much leading the whole game.
They ended up winning by 7.
I was watching the game. I thought Texas had it, but like I said, this Miami team is really good. They got a lot of solid players. Isaiah Wong, superstar. He's probably going to be drafted high in the NBA. I think he's maybe even a lottery pick. But I think if the Miami wins, he could definitely be a lottery pick. So watch out for Miami in the Final Four.
That concludes the Midwest. Miami winning the Midwest. San Diego State winning the South. FAU winning the East. And now let's get to the West.
West, UConn winning that region. So in the first round, UConn took down Iona. Not a single close game. And that is just super impressive.
Yeah, UConn, I love SDSU, but I'm not going to lie. I think UConn might be the most scariest team going to the Final Four.
UConn, compared to every other team in this Final Four, they're a lot more experienced. Because 3 of these teams, it's their first Final Four experience. But UConn has made it 6 times.
Next, they beat St. Mary's. I mean, I don't think we really need.
Same deal there, pretty much.
Yeah. We could just skip to the Gonzaga versus UConn game.
I mean,
They won by 28.
I thought Gonzaga was actually going to win with Drew Timme, 45 years old. Timme, when they took down UCLA, I think it was. Yeah, Gonzaga took down UCLA. He dropped almost a 40-piece. Really impressive win. I mean, that was probably the best game of the Sweet 16. If you didn't watch it, there was a deep three. I think his name's like Strother or something. He hit the game winner. But yeah, UConn still crushed them, so that was scary.
That concludes the West to set up our Final Four of San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Miami, and UConn.
Let's move on to our Final Four. Our very first game in Houston. I don't think this is the first game that's going to be happening. I have no idea.
SDSU was first.
You want to go with SDSU first? Okay.
It is first.
Okay, but let's go over the Miami versus UConn game first.
All right. UConn's starting lineup consists of 3 guards and 2 forwards. Guards being Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson, and Tristan Newton, senior. He's a senior. I don't know why I didn't say that, but he's a senior. And their forwards are Adam Sanogo, Jr.
Adam Sanogo, very good player. You got to watch out for him. Averaging 17.1 points per game and 7.5 rebounds. Very impressive stats he puts up there. In fact, he leads the team in points and rebounds, so that's something to look out for. So yeah, I'd like to see him and
Hawkins.
No, him and Wong going back and forth. I don't think they'll be guarding each other, but I think they're the best on each team.
Their other forward is Alex Carabin. And let me read this. About the Huskies, no team was undervalued more than UConn, who went 29-8, which entered the tournament with 25 wins, a number 8 standing in the net rankings, rankings, which looks at quality wins among the other factors and the still developing potential of junior Sanogo, who has averaged 20 points and 10 boards in 4 tournament games.
So, like I said earlier, it's their 6th time in the Final Four, and they've actually had a lot of NBA players. Some of the current NBA players, you're not going to recognize all their names, but they'll definitely recognize some. James Bouknight, Andre Drummond, Rudy Gay, Tyrese Martin. They're all former
Huskies.
Who's
Tyrese Martin?
I don't know, but you know Rudy Gay and Andre Drummond. So.
And Bouknight. What's his first name again?
James Bouknight. Yeah, they're all former Huskies. So, yeah, some current NBA players that came from UConn.
Next, moving on to the other team, the team that UConn's playing, Miami, and their starting lineup consists of 4 guards and 1 forward. Those 4 guards being Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, Isaiah Wong, Uga Poplar, and then the forward being Norchid Omir. The best player probably being Isaiah Wong, but Omir is very good too.
Yeah, big guy.
Jordan Miller's a senior, and he's, I believe, the point guard. He averages 15, so there's a lot of people that average a lot. Norchad averages 13, Isaiah Wong averages 16, Nigel Pack averages 13, and Jordan Miller averages 15. Wooga averages 8.5, so not as good, but
like I said, there's a lot of solid players on this Miami team, so you gotta just keep that in mind.
Norchad Omir averages 13. He averages a double-double. He averages my favorite thing to get.
Very impressive.
My favorite thing. Dude, like plain, just cheese, meat, and bun. So good. Heading into the Elite 8, Miami coach Jim Larangnaga, who brought George Mason to the Final Four as an 11 seed 17 years ago, said the portal was the basketball equivalent of speed dating. The 3rd and 4th leading scorers for Miami, Pack and Omir, both came to the U, aka Miami, from the portal.
A couple more things about Miami. So the leaders in their stats for points, Wong, rebounds, Omir, assists, Wong, steals Wong, and blocks Omir. So Wong and Omir cleaning up those stats. So I'd say they're a duo to look out for. This is Miami's first Final Four. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, three teams, it's their first Final Four. How about that? And then some NBA players currently that played at Miami are Bruce Brown Jr., Devon Reed, and Lonnie Walker. They're all former Hurricanes. So yeah, Lonnie Walker, very solid player. So yeah, this team has been producing NBA players. So yeah, let's move on to
the game that we want to talk about the most: San Diego State versus Florida Atlantic.
So first of all, let's go over Florida Atlantic, the 9 seed.
Their lineup consists of 4 guards and a center. Their center, I believe, is 7'1". Vladislav Golden. He's from Russia.
Yeah, he's very, very impressive.
In fact, let me read this. About the Owls, FAU landed 3 key players from elsewhere, including Golden, a 7'1" Russian center. All moved to the campus in Boca Raton after less than successful stays at big conference schools. No one was quite sure how Coach Dusty May would blend all of these new faces from different places. Turns out he did very well at 35-3. At 35-3, nobody has more wins than the Owls. And then also, let me see the rest of the lineup other than Vladislav Golden. They have Johnell Davis, who averages 14 points per game, Elijah Martin, who averages 13.1, Nicholas Boyd, who averages 8.9, and Brian Greenlee, who averages 7.4. The only thing that could be worrisome for the Aztecs is a lot of the players here average 13, 10, 13, which is more than the Aztecs. The most points averaged by the Aztecs is Matt Bradley with 12 points, and then the rest are, I believe, below 10 points. But we are a very good defensive team. So
yeah, any Aztecs player can show up on any given day. So very well-rounded team. I'm just gonna say a couple more things about Florida Atlantic. So leaders in their stats for points: Davis. Davis, I think there's star player Johnell Davis. Is he guard? I believe he's guard. I believe
he's a guard. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's a very solid player. I haven't got to watch him yet, but from just looking at the stats, he just looks like a very solid player. And then rebounds: Golden, the Russian. Assists: Boyd. Steals: Davis, and blocks: Golden. So yeah, Golden. What is he, like 7 foot? 7 feet?
7'1".
7'1". Yeah.
I did my research.
So Aztecs are gonna have to. They did a great job of guarding Creighton's center, but they're gonna.
That guy was like 7'3".
Yeah, they're gonna have to do an even better job this time. And some more facts about FAU, Florida Atlantic University. This is their first Final Four, one of the 3 teams, SDSU, Miami, and this team. And no one on FAU has ever made the NBA, so pretty shocking, considering that this is the only team in the Final Four that they've never produced an NBA player. So, yeah.
Now I think we've talked enough about FAU. Let's get to our Aztecs. You know, as you can see, we're very big Aztec fans. Aztecs. That's it. Aztecs. I'll leave the lineup to Raja, but before we start, let me just say this quick thing that I wrote down about the Aztecs. A longtime power in the Mountain West Conference, San Diego State was 30-2 and projected for a #1 seed in 2020, when the season was unfortunately canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Did we have season tickets then? I don't think we did.
No, but we went to pretty much.
Yeah, we went to pretty much every game. We went to tons of games. With Malachi Flynn, Yanni Wetzel, KJ Fagan, Matt Mitchell, the Matt Bradley before Matt Bradley. So, yeah, and continuing. 3 years later now, the Aztecs are 31-6 and are 2 wins away from their title. The top 2 scorers, Bradley and Trammell, are, you guessed it, products of the transfer portal, though Coach Brian Dutcher brought them in as much for defensive as scoring. SDSU made it this far behind a defense that held top seed Alabama to 32% shooting in the Sweet 16 and held Creighton to 11% from three-point range on Saturday's win. So before I move on to Raja, Aztecs have what arguably the best defense left in the whole entire tournament.
Yeah.
Probably. UConn, no, I think Aztecs still have a better defense. But yeah, their defense, they have tall dudes like Nathan Mensah, who gets tons of blocks. Lee, who's buff. He's jacked.
I mean, as you said, John, their defense is amazing. I mean, they've proven that they're able to shut down these top superstar players, Brandon Miller, and then I don't know how to pronounce the guy on Creighton's name, but the center. It's proven that they can shut down these top guys. So yeah, like we said, SDSU beat Creighton.
Can you say their starting lineup too?
And then their starting lineup: Lamont Butler, Darion Trammell, Nathan Mensah, Keyshawn Johnson, and Matt Bradley. So very well rounded, and their bench is really good. They got Seiko, Parrish, Rope, Ladie. You know, they pretty much have a whole other unit that can just come in, and you know that's what makes this team so good. Everything about them, their defense, they're averaging 72.1 points per game. The leaders in the stats for the points, Bradley, even though he hasn't been playing amazing this March Madness, the teams have started been like catching on, realizing that he's a great scorer. But with that, SDSU, all the other guys can show up. Darion Trammell, he's proven himself. Lamont Butler, Mensah with a couple big blocks. Anybody can show up on any given day. So that's what makes this team so good. Rebounds, Nathan Mensah leads. He came in clutch last game against Creighton and against Alabama. The leader for assists is Lamont Butler, and steals is also Lamont Butler. In a way, he kind of reminds me of Chris Paul. I mean, but he's also a great scorer. We're so lucky to have two of the best guards left in March Madness, Trammell and Butler.
We also have Matt Bradley, who is considered a guard.
Yeah. So we have big guys, we have guards. I mean, very, very well-rounded team. So a couple more things about SDSU. This is also their first Final Four, despite having great players such as Kawhi Leonard, Malachi Flynn, and Jalen McDaniels. They're all former Aztecs, all in the NBA right now. This is their first Final Four. This is the furthest they've ever made it. So yeah, have they ever made it to the Elite Eight? I don't think so. So yeah, it was their first Elite Eight, first Final Four, and looking to make their first national championship and try to get that banner.
They made it to the Sweet 16 with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
It's the best they've ever done.
Yeah, I think they could have gone pretty far with Malachi Flynn.
They were the number
Matt
one
Mitchell.
seeded team, actually.
Yeah, they were almost undefeated.
Sadly, Utah State beat them. Yeah. That was heartbreaking. All right, but anyways, now we're done, and now we're gonna head to our secret subject after. Before we finish here, we'd just like to talk about how magical this season has been. We've been with the Aztecs the whole season. We've been at almost every game. The only reason we missed it was because we're in Columbia, but we still watch the games. I watch them on my iPad, on my phone. But, yeah, Roger?
Again, this season has been magical. Beating their rivals in the championship game of their conference, Utah State. I mean, I remember in 2020, or was it 2019 or 2020? Or 2020, COVID season, but before that happened, they had the best team. I mean, they would have been amazing in March Madness. They had Malachi Flynn, KJ Fagan, Yanni Wetzel, Matt Mitchell, and Mensah.
And Seiko and Rope.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah.
They were still there.
But unfortunately, they lost to Utah State by a last-minute shot by
Sam Merrill.
Yeah.
I hate you, Sam Merrill.
We
If you're
got
watching this, I hate you.
our revenge this year, and that's part of what makes this season magical. We got to go down in Thomas and Mack Center onto the court and experience it with all the other Aztecs fans. Watch them cut down the net. We've watched them cut down the net quite a few times this year. Also, there's been just a couple of regular season games. They played some conference games, such as against New Mexico. I mean, New Mexico was one of their rivals this season. They had House and what was his name?
Jamal Mashburn Jr.
Yeah, Mashburn. I mean,
2 future NBA players.
yeah, future NBA players for sure.
When we watch House, he was really good. Like, he was super fast. He never lost energy. He was hype. He's probably going to get, if he joins the NBA, he's probably going to get a few technical fouls, because he gets pretty hype. I think he even got one at the game where he did get a tech, because he did that. Yeah, it's also a magical season because other than 2020, we really haven't had a season like this, because we have new players, or did we have the same player? New, I think Ledee is new.
A couple transfers and Bradley. He was.
I'd also like to talk about how they beat Alabama, the number 1 seeded team, along with Purdue, Houston, and Kansas. 4 really good teams.
No one saw that coming. One of the most unexpected upsets in March Madness. So that's just part of what makes the season magical. And then they moved on to the Elite Eight, where they played Creighton, who they lost to first round.
Like, I was talking.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Just like completely interrupted. We actually went to Viejas for a watch party. The Viejas Center where the Aztecs play.
Watch our last video, or last video.
Last.
Last.
No.
Last. But yeah, carry on. We were, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was walking to Viejas and I was a little scared because I thought it was gonna be the end of the road for the Aztecs.
We knew that this could be the end.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we thought.
I think every Aztecs fan had that sort of.
But also we knew we were gonna win too. You know, at the game, I wasn't that proud when we were at Viejas because, in my opinion, they really didn't play that well. But in the second half, they had guys like Arope, Ledee, Mensa,
just their defense.
Lamont.
Yeah.
Especially their defense. They allowed much less points in the second half.
Defense wins games.
In the first half, Creighton had a deadly pick and roll that they kept running with their big 7-3. My bad. In the second half, they just maybe they had one successful pick and roll, but they completely shut it down. They learned what they were doing because they did it like a third of the time every possession, and they shut it down, and that ultimately stopped them from getting points because, in my opinion, they probably had 2 dudes that were good, which was the tall guy and then the short little guy, and there was also Adam Seiko's brother.
Would you like to point out just that Creighton's point guard was getting away with murder in the first half?
Yeah.
And that we just shut him down in the second half?
Yeah. And I'm happy that we got that call at the end because it was a physical game the whole time, and there were multiple controversial plays, and I'm just glad that the Aztecs just got that call. You know, I don't care what anyone says, that was a foul or not. That was a foul.
Telling myself, it was not pretty.
But we got the win, and we're going to Houston.
You blew it. You ruined it.
He did.
No, you put the on there. Do it again, because now you won't be able to use the audio.
But we got the win, and we're going to Houston. Fine. So excited for this flight. We're going to Energy Stadium. We're going to see some amazing games. It's a football stadium, so it's going to be huge.
It's going to be
energy is going to be amazing. Last year we went to March Madness first round game at Viejas. And just the energy there was amazing, even though it was a blowout of a game.
So now that it's in,
and it's our team, it's going to be just.
Now it's the Final Four, so it's going to be super hype.
Broken ankles out.